Thanks for hanging in there with me, guys. This is the third part of a three-part series. It's all one learning standard, but there are three different parts to it. The last part is rewrite equations of quadratic functions from vertex form to standard form. And we're going to stick with our process. We're going to rewrite the equations from vertex form to standard form by watching this video, listening to instructions, write the notes, and then we're going to collaborate with your group to complete the practice problems. All right. Just to go over, vertex form looks like this: y equals a parentheses x minus h squared plus k. And standard form is a trinomial with a ax squared bx plus c. And if you'll notice, what we're doing is going from vertex to standard and not from standard to vertex. So I like that. Let's write our steps down like we've been doing. The first step is just to write the given equation on your paper. We often try to take shortcuts, I want to believe, because you're trying to conserve paper, but I have a sneaking suspicion it's just because we're lazy mathematicians. But I want to encourage you to take the time, write the given equation, whatever the equation is, in the book, on the worksheet, on the board, whatever you've got, write the whole thing down. For example, the first one we're given, and I hope this looks familiar to you. We've used it in our other two videos, but I'm hoping that you make some connections. And really, to go from vertex form to standard form is you just perform your algebraic operations. And you'll see that we have this quantity squared. So let's go ahead and write this in an expanded form. It is x minus 3 times x minus 3 plus 4. I have expanded that, and now I just need to do what it says. I need to multiply these two things together, and then I need to distribute this 2, and when all is said and done, then I need to add the 4. So let's go ahead and do that. X minus 3 times x minus 3, I have two different things that I need to distribute here. This x multiplies to this x and to this negative 3. This negative 3 goes here and here. So I'm going to be neat. I'm going to put my parentheses, and I've got the first two terms. X times x give me x squared. X times a negative 3 is negative 3x, and then this negative 3 times x is another negative 3x, and negative 3 times negative 3 is plus 9, and I need to multiply that times 4. If you'll notice that this negative 3 and this negative 3x are like terms, and I can combine them together to a minus 6x plus 9, and we need to still remember our plus 4 out there. All of this is algebra that you already know. It's just putting a lot of steps together. If you'll just take it step by step and be neat, you won't get confused. The next thing I need to do is I need to distribute this 2 everywhere inside the parentheses. I'm going to start a new page. I'm going to go to the beginning of the next page. Now's a good time to pause me and get all of this copied down onto your notes. Okay, that's what we had, and we need to distribute. So I've got y equals 2x squared minus 12x plus 18 plus 4. And guys, don't be afraid to use your calculator. If you're not sure what 2 times negative 6 is, use your calculator. If you're not sure what 2 times positive 9 is, use your calculator. It's okay. I really don't care anymore if you know your multiplication facts. I just want you to get it right. The last thing I see is this plus 18 and this plus 4 are like terms, and I can combine those together. So plus 22. Once again, use your calculator if you don't remember. So I hope you've seen a little light go off. When we did the first thing and we used our technology and used the quadratic regression and we had 3 points, our calculator gave us the A value of 2, the B value of negative 12, and the C value of 22. And here we found it again just by using algebra. I wanted to show another way how to do this inside step. Let me rewrite it from the beginning. I've talked to a few teachers, and I know that one of the things that they ask their kids to do is they multiply. I want to write it over here. Just like you would multiply two numbers together, and I'm totally okay with that. Negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. Negative 3 times x is negative 3x. Removing places, we're going to another place, so we put a 0 here just like we would. This x times negative 3 is negative 3x, and x times x is x squared. And now look, I've got x squared minus 6x plus 9. If your teacher's shown you that way and you like that way to multiply, I think that's a wonderful thing to do. So that's another way that you can do it. So what we've done is we've taken this vertex form and we've turned it into this standard form. And all we did was perform the algebra of what we saw. So once again, I'm going to give you an example on the next page, and I want you to work it out, and then I want you to check your answer. But write down the next problem, pause, and then check your answer. Okay, so we wrote our equation. We need to perform the algebraic operations. And then we need to simplify. Okay, so let's rewrite this in expanded form. If you want to multiply vertically, I think that's perfectly fine. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. X times negative 2 is negative 2x. We have a 0 here. And x times x is x squared. So now we just combine like terms, and the nice thing about doing it vertically is our terms line up. Negative 2 plus negative 2 combine together for a negative 4x, and then x squared is here. And so we've performed that operation. We could also have just distributed twice, and we've got negative 1 is x squared minus 4x plus 4 plus 5. All right, the next step I need to do is distribute that negative 1 everywhere. And so it goes to all three terms. This negative 1 times the positive 1 that's in front of here gives me a negative. This negative 1 times this negative 4 give me a positive 4. And this negative times this positive give me a negative. And I've got my plus 5 out here. And I need to combine these two last terms because they are like terms. This is an x squared and this is x, so they're not like terms. But these two are just whole numbers and they can go together. And that gives me a plus 1. and I hope that this looks familiar to you. So we have y equals negative x squared plus 4x plus 1. I'm going to pull in my calculator because you can check this. Turn on y equals, let's clear that out. Let's put both of these equations in our calculator. Plus 5. And then let's put the standard form, negative x plus 4x plus 1. And let's compare a table of points. Aha! If you'll notice y1 and y2, 1, 1, 4, 4, 5, 5, 4, 4, they're exactly the same. So we know that those two are the same equation, just in different forms. So we can pat ourselves on the back. We took it from this vertex form to this standard form. If you think you've got it, guys, feel free to pause the video and do your practice problems. What I'm going to do, I'm going to do one more problem with a fraction. So when you do the practice work and you see a fraction, if you want to come back and just fast forward it to this part, it would be a good thing to do. Okay, we're going to take this vertex form of a parabola or a quadratic function, and we are going to write it in standard form. The steps, you need to write that formula, or I'm sorry, that equation on your paper. You write your equation. You perform the algebraic steps. And then you simplify. And of course, you can always check your work in your calculator. You can put the one you're given in y1 and the one you come up with in y2 and make sure their tables are the same. So let's write this in expanded form. Okay, I really like the vertical. So off to the side, I'm going to multiply these two things together. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Just like I do with numbers, I'm going to put a 0 here because I've moved places. So x times negative 2 is a negative 2x, and x times x is x squared. I like this because my like terms are lined up. And if you'll notice, this is a plus 4. That's why this plus 4 came down. And so now I just insert this back in. X squared minus 4x plus 4 plus 4. All right, we need to distribute. We've got to do the multiplication or the distribution before we can deal with that last 4 on the end. Well, I know that 1/2 times 1 is 1/2. And now I'm going to go ahead and use my calculator because I'm okay if that's what you do. I know what 1/2 times negative 4 is, but I want to do it with you. So I personally like second alpha y equals, and I hit enter, and I get the format for my fraction, and I'm going to multiply it times negative 4. You see that? And I get negative 2. So I know that that's going to be a negative 2x. And then I want to do 1/2 times a positive 4. And I'm going to go ahead and go through those steps again. Let's clear that so that you can see it. And it's second alpha y equals, and see the ND, numerator and denominator, enter. I put 1/2 times 4 and hit enter, and that's a 2. So I have plus 2 plus 4. These two things go together. Minus 2x plus 2 and plus 4 is plus 6. So it's no different with a fraction. It might not look like as much fun, but all you do